Alright, Rabotai, welcome to our Monday night shiur. We have the zchut today that our Monday night shiur fell out on the HELULA of MOSHE RABENU. And this is not just some HELULA from the Rishonim, from the times, who knows what was the HELULA of. We know there is one HELULA, one yortzeit written in the Torah. Who is that? No, actually it's Aaron HaKohen. Aaron HaKohen is explicitly written inside the Torah. The first of the month of Av, it doesn't say like that, it numbers the month. But it says the yortzeit of Aaron. How do we know the yortzeit of Moshe? It's written in the Midrash. It's inside the Midrash. The Midrash Rabbah writes down that Moshe Rabbeinu was born on the 7th of Adar, and he passed away on the 7th of Adar. And on the day that he passed away, he was so strong, he was extremely powerful, that he could have jumped from the Har, from the mountain, Har Nevo, into Eretz Israel. Imagine jumping from a mountain inside, cross the Jordan. Imagine. So one person asked me inside the class, I was teaching them today, I said, so how come he didn't? If he wanted to go to Israel so badly, how come he didn't jump? What's the point of going inside if you're not doing Hashem's will? You want to do a mitzvah so badly, but sometimes you shouldn't do it. Moshe Rabbeinu had the chance, and the Ari HaKadosh says, because every soul has to fulfill 613 mitzvot. If you miss one mitzvah, you're coming back in a Gilgul, my friend. So Moshe Rabbeinu may have learned the whole Torah, may have done the whole Torah, may have seen the whole Torah, he may have seen all the generations back and forth, but since he didn't do the mitzvot that were tluyot be'eretz Yisrael, he had to come back in a Gilgul. And he so didn't want to come back. In fact, that's what the Mefarshim say. How come Moshe wanted to go inside Israel so bad? He wanted to be done with it. 120 and that's it. He doesn't want to come back here. Who wants to come back? The Mefarshim say that to come back in a Gilgul, in a reincarnation, is worse than going into Gehenom. It's worse to go into Gehenom. There was a famous story with the in-laws of the Balatanya, that he came to the Balatanya Begilui in Ba'akitz, and he told him, should I go to Gehenom or should I come back in a Gilgul? He says, what do you want to do? He says, I want to come back in a Gilgul. They walked me to Gehenom. I was just close to it. I did not want to go inside. He said, how long did they say you have to be inside Gehenom? They said 9 minutes. He said, it's rather 9 minutes. He said, but those 9 minutes are going to be 9 minutes. He said, it's worth it for you to suffer those 9 minutes than to come back inside a Gilgul. So Moshe Rabbeinu did not want to come back in a Gilgul, but Hashem said, listen, mister. Obviously I shouldn't talk about Moshe Rabbeinu, but for the dramatic purpose. He says, listen, you took the Jews out of Egypt, you're going to be the one that's going to bring them in one day. After 6,000 years, in the time of Mashiach, you're going to be the one that's going to finish the job. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu says, in Parashat Vayelech, before he passes away, he gives one ripping speech to the Jews. The Gemara in Avodah Zarah Daf Gimel says, for 40 years Moshe was with the Jewish people, not once did he give them musar. Today, every guy who wears a hat starts to give musar. You guys are like this, you guys are like that, because every tshuva, you guys are doing averot. Moshe Rabbeinu didn't give musar to the Jewish people for 40 years. Why? They were just the opposite. They were greater people. They were greater people. For 40 years, you know why? He said, they cannot understand me. How long does it take for a student to understand the Rebbe's mind? It takes him 40 years. The Gemara says, and the Gemara paskins that as a halacha. It takes 40 years for a student to understand the Rebbe. You're not gonna. Let's hope we could jump fast forward. But anyways, but in the last day when Moshe Rabbeinu was about to pass away, he didn't just give musar. He gave the musar. And what does he say? That HaKadosh Baruch Hu Bichvodo Ba'atzmo told Moshe, V'kama amazeh, Hincha shochev im avotecha. You are going to rest with your parents, with your forefathers. V'kama amazeh v'zana acharei Elokei nechar. And this nation will get up, that means your nation, that you took out of Egypt, will get up again. And they're going to go against the Torah and they will do Avodah Zarah. The Ari says, we see from here one thing, Shara Gilgulim. The Ari says the last generation will be the first generation. The last generation will be the first generation. If the last generation will be the same Jewish people who came out of Egypt. Why did they have to be the same ones? They didn't finish their tikkun. What was their tikkun? to go inside do the mitzvot. And since their leader didn't do it, so too they didn't do it too. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu had to die in the desert. Why? If he wouldn't have died in the desert, he wouldn't have gotten up with them. Then they wouldn't have gotten up. Then they wouldn't have done the job. That means all the avodah rests on who? Ikvedat Mashiach, the last generation, the ones who are gonna come in at the end. And Moshe Rabbeinu, what? He's the first Mashiach, he's the last Mashiach. And I'm going to read you something inside from the Ariyah Kadosh tonight, B'schut Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu, he's the first Rav. He's the first Rav, Moshe Rabbeinu. He said he was so anav, Moshe Rabbeinu, he was so anav, he was the most humble person. It's not my words. The Torah says, Va'ish Moshe anav me'od. Mikol ha'adam asher pnei adama. He was the most humble human being that ever lived on the face of this earth. Let's think about the most humble people in the world. Avraham Avinu. Could you imagine you go to a city of Rishaim, Sodom va'Amorah, all the garbage is inside over there. He's praying for them to live. He's praying for them to live. Just the opposite the Chachamim say, V'shem Rishaim liyakav. May the names of Rishaim be blotted out. Why are you praying for them? He can't. He's so anaf. He loves every single human being. David HaMelech, what does he say? Chapter 21 of Tehillim, soon as Purim. What does it say in chapter 21 of Tehillim? Eli, Eli, lama zavtani v'anochi tola'at. I'm a worm. Velo ish. He didn't know that's going to be for everyone to read for the rest of the time. You know, when I was single, people used to say Tehillim. I used to say, what Tehillim? I've been reading Tehillim since I was 6 years old. When you're so used to something, you cannot feel it anymore. You're so used to it. So one rabbi once told me, he says, read chapter 21. I said, what's in chapter 21 already? He says, don't just read chapter 21, read chapter 21. And be'emet. I said, how many times? He said, 21 times. No, I'm just kidding. He said, how many? So I was reading, and the words of David HaMelech, when you read it slowly, you start to understand what he's saying. He says, look, he's doing his avodah to Hashem. Picture in your mind, a small man, gingy, red hair, a king. His son wanted to kill him. His father-in-law wanted to kill him. He's on the run. His cousin wanted to kill him. All the Jews called him a liar, a thief. Till after his death, it wasn't until Shlomo HaMelech opened up the Beit HaMikdash that the Jews believed that David HaMelech was innocent. It wasn't until then. The Gemara says that. Imagine he's speaking to Hashem, and instead of saying to Hashem, I fought your wars. I put the Jewish people one lev. I wrote you Tehillim. You sent people after me. My parents were assassinated. My brothers were killed off. I have nothing left. And what does he tell to Hashem? Va'anochi tola'at velo ish. I'm a worm but not a man. Cherpat adam. I'm a disgrace for humankind. B'zui am. I'm worth it to be a tzarat. I'm worth it to be a leper. That's what David HaMelech. Look at that anava. Look at that. Hashem did so much to you. David HaMelech says, I deserve worse. What am I? I'm a worm. You know, David HaMelech calls himself in the book of Shmuel, Parush Met, a dead mosquito. Why does he call himself a dead mosquito? A live mosquito, you want to kill him, right? But a dead mosquito is even worse. He says, I'm a dead mosquito, I'm not a live mosquito. At least a live mosquito has a purpose in this world. Right? What's a dead mosquito? It's the worst of the worst. It's Ani Parush Met. And what is David HaMelech? All of his life crying to Hashem. Hatzileni mecharev nafshi miyat kelev yahidati. Save me from that sword. Save me from that dog. The Ariyah Kadosh says, what is he talking about? One sin he did with Bathsheba, and the Torah says, the Mefarshim say, he had to do that sin. You know why? Because then everybody would have done that sin like he did with Bathsheba. They would have said, I have no teshuvah. But since David did it, and he did teshuvah, so too everyone could do teshuvah. He opened the whole way to teshuvah. I mean, it was as if he had to, nor el nor alila. But still he was saying, Hatzileni mecharev nafshi. How humble he was. What do we say to HaKadosh Baruch Hu? I put on tefillin today. Mazal tov. You put on tefillin today. No kidding. You daven today. What did Rabban Yochanan ben Zakkai say in Pirkei Avot? He was passing away. What did he say? He said, I see Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda. You know who's Chizkiyahu Melech Yehuda? He was supposed to be Mashiach. He defeated Sancheriv. And what? How did he defeat Sancheriv? He told all the Jews, learn Torah. On Pesach night, that night, it was the greatest army. The Gemara Masechet Sanhedrin says the same army of Gog and Magog is going to be that same army of Sancheriv. They said when they used to cross a river, there were so many footmen soldiers, they used to dry out the river by the time the last soldier left. There were so many soldiers he had. He told Chizkiyahu, if every one of my soldiers will take a pebble, and just pelt Yerushalayim, I'm going to destroy your whole city. And you talking with me with Gadaev, like you're in some walled city over here. What was the original Jerusalem? What do we call the old city today? How big is the old city? You could walk it. You could walk. That was the old city. That was the old city. Could you imagine? He said, if every single one of us takes a pebble, and just throws it, I will destroy you. What did Chizkiyahu say? I have a masoret, a tradition from my parents, from my great-grandfather, Yoshiyahu HaMelech, that even if there's a sword on your throat and it's about to cut your throat open, you should still pray to Hashem. There's still time. There's still time. And he made all the Jews learn Torah that night. And what happens? Comes Malach Gabriel once again. He's always there. Malach Gabriel comes, he turns everybody into a crisp. And he leaves the clothes. He leaves the clothes just to show Ein ka Hashem Elokeinu b'chol koreinu elav. Look at the level of the tzidkut of the tzaddikim. This was the great grandson of David HaMelech. What kind of anavim they were. Look how humble they were. Today we're going to try to take a glimpse into the life of these tzaddikim. Look at Moshe Rabenu. Who was Moshe Rabotai? He was a prince of Egypt. A prince of Egypt. He had every luxury in his life. And he had from both worlds, by the way. He lived a life, he was tutored by his father at night, and he was tutored by Paro in the morning. Wow. He had lived a life of both worlds. And then he was 40 years a king of Kush. We're going to learn from the Ari HaKadosh. 40 years he was a king of Kush, of Ethiopia. And then 40 years he was a king of Israel. Who? But Moshe could have Ga'ava. Who? The guy lived his whole life a king. When Moshe Rabbeinu said, all of this is not worth it for me, just one time I'm going to do one mitzvah in Eretz Yisrael. Wow, unbelievable. Why? Because it's Eretz Yisrael. We love Eretz Yisrael. But what's the point of Eretz Yisrael? You know, I was listening to two boys that want to go to Israel for a year. They were saying to each other, oh, we want to go to Israel for a year. They say when you walk 4 amot in Eretz Yisrael, all your sins get forgiven. I'm like, you're kidding. Mashiach has to come already a long time ago. 72 years ago, Mashiach had to come. 4 amot you're walking. There's kavanot behind it. There's stuff behind it. There's Ruach HaKodesh behind it. What do you think? I'm just going to take a jog in Tel Aviv, in the beach over there. 4 amot. Avera mitzvah. What is this, a joke for you? Chas v'shalom, this is such a thing. Chas v'shalom. You're doing mitzvot for what reason? So I can get washed and do mitzvah? What is this? We're not krit machs, chas v'shalom. I heard the Pope is sick. May he not have a refuah shlema. Amen.
He might be listening.
I don't think. So, Rabotai, who was Moshe Rabbeinu? I want to tell you guys a chidush that I heard in the name of the Chida. I read in the books of the Chida, and the Chida, by the way, is one of the marans of the Sfaradim. One of the marans. Marans means our masters. His HELULA is this Shabbat. The Chida, this Shabbat, Rabbi Yosef Chaim David Azulai, he was born 8 months. You know, even in science today, 8 months baby, tell me the truth, is the most sakana, right? It's a danger. 7 months, 9 months, but 8 months for some reason, sakana. He was born at 8 months, the Chida. And the Chida is interesting, but the Gemara already said it. You should know, the Masech Nida. The Chida was born at 8 months. His father was Sfaradi. His mother was Ashkenaziyah. The Ari was just the opposite. His mother was Sfaradi and his father was Ashkenazi. The Chida was, his mother was the Sfaradi. You always want your mother to be Sfaradi. Why? She knows how to make the food. But the father is Ashkenazi, he brings the money, right? If it's just the other way around, the mother doesn't know how to do anything and the father is a bum all day at home. So you want the mother to be the Sfaradi. That's what it was. She gave birth to him at 8 months, Marana Chida. Already he was born. You know, my kids have strep. So I was giving them today, right before I came to the shiur, I gave them the dosage, the medicine. And I said to my son, I always teach him to go to sleep. Before he goes to sleep, whoever has kids, it's especially if they're small, teach their kids, always say one time, thank you for something. Always teach him how to say thank you. Always thank you, because it's the essence of a Jew. So I told him, say thank you for something today. And he said, thank you for Abba and Ima, thank you for this. I said, thank you for your medicine today. Because 50 years ago, there was no such kind of thing. 50 years ago, there was no such thing as antibiotics. People used to die from a common cold, from a common bacteria. Say thank you for the medicine. He says, wow, Abba, is it true? He's 4 years old. He doesn't understand, but whatever, maybe he does. He says, is it true? Yeah, but you have to say thank you for that. And it's flavored. And it tastes like bubble gum. Ben Farat Yosef, Ben Farat Alein. You have to learn how to say thank you. So the Chida, when he was born, his heart wasn't pumping. So he started to turn blue. So his mother didn't know what to do with him. The child wasn't breathing. She wrapped him up in a cloth. The Chida's mother. This is the one who's going to write over 50 books in his life and going to be called Maran of the Sephardic Jews. She takes his in the parapech, and she takes him outside, and she leaves him by the gate. Like he's a dead kid already. Look at the skenot, the grandmothers, especially in the Bukharian world. The Bukharian grandmother, nobody can mess with. When you're in a fight, you got to call the grandmother. She's gonna take care of everything for you. You got to do the top. She's gonna take care of everything for you. The grandmother sees what her daughter is doing. She says to her, "What are you doing?" She says, "The child is he's dead." She goes to the baby, takes him inside, takes oils, takes this, that, hot bath. She starts to warm that. Half an hour, she's there giving the kid CPR. After half an hour, the baby starts to cry. The Chida, when he grew up to be the Maran Chida, he writes in his book, he said, "All my Torah is my grandmother's. If it wasn't for that lady who would have, who knew, who she said, Emunah, this baby is gonna live, I would be a dead kid today." She waited for me. She knew I was gonna live. And who's the Chida? You know how many books we have from him? You know how many halachot we have from him today? He's Maran HaChida. He's not just Stam Chida. Maran HaChida. He's the master Chida. That's what this Shabbat. He says a beautiful Hidush. He says, how come people who have anava, who have humbleness, their prayers are answered? How do we know? In the parasha, it says in Bahalotcha, you know what a leper is? Not the leper that we know. Tzarat is a sickness that's spiritual. You can't go to a doctor for it. It's a crazy sickness. Moshe Rabbeinu says 5 words. El na refana la. 5 words he says. She gets healed. That's all he had to say to Miriam. El na refana la. Imagine somebody gets sick today. El na refana la. Boom, he's okay. You're going to call him the Baba Sali. Moshe Rabbeinu had that power from what? He was humble. Why is being humble so important? Why does the Torah give Moshe this title, the most humble human being? Call him the most, the biggest tzaddik, shomer habrit. You know, today we have campaigns. People talk about it in such public ways. It's crazy today, you know. I'm afraid to even say the word out of my mouth, you know, from the sake of cleanliness. People today speak about it, you know, you have to be pure in your mouth. You have to know what comes out of your mouth. Why Moshe Rabbeinu is called Anav? The Ari says, the Chida says the name of the Ari, I'll tell you why. How do you say humble in Hebrew? Anava. You have to understand that Hebrew words have meaning to it. The letters have meanings to it. It's called numerical value, gematria. How do you spell Anava? Ayin, Nun, Vav, Hey. Ayin is how much? 70. Nun is how much? 50. 70 plus 50 is how much? 120. Vav and Hey is 11. 120 plus 11 is how much? 131. Who's the who's the Yetzer Hara? Who's the leader of all the Yetzer Haras? Samech Mem, right? In the Shamayim, the Nahash, Hashad Samech Mem, the angel, the Satan. How do you spell his name? Samech Mem, Aleph Lamed, right? Samech is how much? 60. Mem is how much? 40. Aleph is how much? 1. How much we have so far? 101. Lamed is how much? 30. 131. Gematria Anava. Anava is Keneged Samech Mem. That's why when Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Har Sinai, he comes down. Samech Mem says, "What you got over there? What you got, son?" He says, "I got something over here." Open. You know, when the Samech Mem says open, you open. 2 luchot. He says, "You're not taking that down there. If you're taking that down there, I'm dead." Moshe says, "I'm taking it down there. And not only am I taking it down there, you're giving me a gift." You're giving me a haskama. You know what a haskama is? How do you call it? Approbation. The Samech Mem gives Moshe Rabbeinu an approbation that he got the luchot. Shouldn't say he's a thief. Samech Mem, the Midrash says, Rabbi Yeshua ben Levi, he gave him a gift. What was the gift? Anyone knows? Ketoret. Pitom HaKetoret, the 11 spices. Corona, guys. We had the first death. Where was it? In Albany? In Washington.
4 already.
6 deaths already. Pitom HaKetoret. The Samech Mem told Moshe Rabbeinu, every time you say Pitom HaKetoret, I can't be inside that place. Pitom HaKetoret weakens the Samech Mem. How come the Samech Mem agreed to Moshe so fast? Because when a person is as anava, he's humble, the Samech Mem cannot overcome him. It's his medicine, it's his antidote, it's his antithesis. It's his kryptonite. Thank you, that's a good one. Because anava is gematria Samech Mem. Now I'm going to tell you guys, Rabotai, with all the anava of Moshe Rabbeinu, what did he tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu the day he passed away? He says, God, let me go in. What does Hashem say? Moshe John? Nemeshu. He tells him, Chai, make me a bird. A bird. So I could eat from the Shemitah. A bird also eats the Shemitah fruits, eats the Shvi'it, eats the, the Yovel, the Maaser. Make me a bird. Because he was a Levi. Moshe, why did he say a bird? Why did he say make me a lion? Moshe is a king. He should be a lion. Because the bird eats the vegetables, the fruits, right? He eats all the crumbs, the bread. Moshe was a Levi. He wanted to be Mekayem Mitzvah Maaser. So by being a bird, he was able to eat from the Maaser. So he specifically asked to be a bird. Even that this part of the Midrash need limud. Hashem says to Moshe, Habibi, Nemeshu. So he says, let me die, bury me inside Israel, bury me. Hashem said, Nemeshu. Now we have to understand this. How come Moshe wasn't zoche to be buried inside Eretz Israel? Today, every tzaddik and tzidkani that passes away, they take him to Eretz Israel. Direct flight. Direct. Imagine a person all of his life didn't go to Eretz Israel. Suddenly, on the day he passes away, he gets a direct flight to Eretz Israel. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I'm coming for Lag BaOmer. By the way, tickets to Israel are dirt cheap right now. Like $650. Direct flight. Huh? Because of the virus, everything's cheaper. Exactly. $650 a ticket. Come on, let's do this. No. Let me give you guys a hidush today. How come Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't be buried inside Eretz Israel? You never heard this. And if you did, you'll hear it again. Nothing happened. This is the chidush from the Ari HaKadosh. Amar li Morizal. My Rebbe, that Rav Chaim Vital says, which is the Ari, told me. Ki shama mechacham echad gadol shebedoro. The Ari heard a chidush from a great tzaddik in his generation. The Aris. And his name was Harabi Kalonimus. Fire name. Kalonimus. You like that, huh? Inyan ze. Ki hine, we see Yaakov Avinu, our forefather Jacob, nikvar gufo va'atzmutav be'eretz Yisrael. Yaakov was buried in Israel, his body, that means the actual basar. Now that's the bones. He was buried the whole body in Eretz Yisrael. And his bones. Yosef, what was buried from him in Eretz Yisrael? Only the bones. After 210 years, what do you think is left over there? Only the bones, even with all the embalming and everything. But Yosef HaTzadik, it says, that's a different story, but the point is that Yosef HaTzadik caused kina'ah. He caused jealousy, and the Mishle says, Urekev atzamot kina'ah. Kina'ah, jealousy, causes the body to rot. So since he caused the kina'ah between the brothers, with the coat, he had counted as the Rekev atzamot. But Moshe Rabbeinu lo gufo, he wasn't buried, not his body, lo atzmotav, not even his bones. There's a connection between these three tzaddikim. Yaakov, Yosef and Moshe. Can you tell me what's the connection? You heard it in Moshe Shabbat. They're all from which column?
The center.
The middle column. Yosef is the Yesod, is the Brit. Yaakov is the Tiferet, is the body, and Moshe is the dot.
Those are the three. He said, no.
Those are the three. And those are the three that didn't get buried. Yaakov got buried. Yosef got his bones. But Moshe didn't even get anything. Why? Vasiba, look what Rabbi Kalonimo says. And the Ari, if the Ari is quoting you, that means, who could imagine who is Rabbi Kalonimus?
Is it the same one for what you
No. It's much after. It's much after. Vasiba, and the reason is, Ki Eretz Yisrael hi eshet chayil yirat Hashem. Eretz Yisrael is considered the eshet chayil. It's considered female. That's why I heard from the name of one tzaddik, if you want to get married, learn halachot that deal with Eretz Yisrael. Because it's considered eshet chayil yirat Hashem. Shechina. Ulefi sheYaakov lo nasai timna achot lotan. There was a woman that lived in the time of Yaakov. Her name was Timna. She really wanted to marry Yaakov. He was, Yaakov looked like Adam HaRishon. He was some good stuff. And he was a tzaddik. He was Behir Sheba'avot. Good family. Avraham, Yitzhak, Nesi Hashem. He was the good kid. Each time, he was the smart one. He's getting to that.
She's coming from what family?
She was a Chorite.
She was
from Seir, from the land of Seir, which Esav later on is going to conquer. He's going to conquer. Well, easy. Take it easy.
It was his daughter.
Yes. You want to say the Hidush? So this Timna wanted to marry really badly Yaakov. She was going after him. But what happened? Yaakov lo nasa et Timna. Yaakov told her, hit the road. I have 4. It's more than enough. He didn't take her. That's why, because he didn't take Timna, and she had klipa in her. She was from the dark side, let's call it Sitra Achra. That's why he got to get buried inside Israel. Because he didn't connect his body with Goya. And today, those boys go to clubs. Oh, just a dance, just a this, that. Rabonot shel olam, rabotai. What's the cheshbonot shamayim? We should have shovavim the whole year. Not just 6 weeks. But Yosef went a step further. Yosef chata b'machshava. Yosef had a sin in his head. Ve'yatzu tipei azera mipen tzipornav. The nishamot came out of his fingernails. Why? Because he couldn't hold himself. He didn't actually do the avera with her, but he did want to. What does the Midrash say? There was nobody inside the house that day, and he went inside to do his work. The Midrash says there was nobody in the house. What work he was going to do? He went to do the avera. And then at the last second, he saved himself, but still the machshava, because he wanted to do it. That's why only his bones went inside Israel. What about Moshe Rabbeinu, alav shalom? Moshe halach le'eretz Kush. Moshe went and became a king of Ethiopia. And he was there for 40 years as a king, and he married the queen of Ethiopia. And because he married her, I'm translating it to you, I hope you guys will believe me. Because he married her, even though the Midrash says he took a sword and he put it between him and her in the bed. This is just a political marriage, relax, it's political. But since he took her with Kiddushin, he didn't even get to go inside Eretz Yisrael.
Just because of that?
Just because of that. And this is the secret, says the Ari HaKadosh, of what says in Parashat Ba'alotcha. Moshe Miriam and Aaron were sitting, and they said, Moshe took a Isha Kushit. He took that black woman. What woman were they talking about? Rashi says Tzipora, because she was black, because she was so different than everyone, just like somebody is dark skinned. But Ari says no, it's actually talking about the queen of Ethiopia. And why were they talking about this about Moshe? Because Eldad and Medad said Moshe is not going inside Israel. They said why? They didn't know he didn't hit the rock yet. But Eldad and Medad already had the prophecy, said the Ari. So Aaron and Miriam, they didn't mean any harm. They just wanted to know, how come he's not going in? So they said because he took Isha Kushit. He took that Isha Kushit. That's why he's not going inside Eretz Yisrael.
Moshe didn't know that. Moshe didn't.
Huh?
But Moshe didn't.
And then they said, but wait a second. Moshe and Aharon and Miriam said, even though he took Isha Kushit, but then later on he took the daughter of Yitro. What's better, the daughter of a priest or the queen of a country? So maybe that's not the reason.
What do you mean?
Maybe the reason is not because he's not going into Israel because he took the Isha Kushit, but because of something else. What would be the reason? So the Ari HaKadosh says, what did they say right after? Halo gam banu diber Hashem. God spoke to us too. They thought Moshe Rabbeinu couldn't go into Israel because he had too much prophecy. So what did they tell Hashem? What did they tell us between themselves? But we also have prophecy. But they didn't know themselves. They thought they were going inside Israel. That they also not going inside Eretz Yisrael.
Why? What was their sin?
They had different ones. Aaron was with Miriam, and Miriam spoke against Moshe. They had different reasons too not going in. So what did Hashem do? He came down to Aaron and Miriam, and what did they say? You think you have prophecy like Moshe? You think you have prophecy like Moshe? You cannot even compare to Moshe. In fact, that is the real reason why he's not going in. Because his prophecy was like the sun. And Israel is like the moon. And the moon was who? Moshe or Yehoshua? Yehoshua. So therefore Yehoshua had to bring them in and not Moshe. But at the end of days, the sun will be shining like what? Like the moon will shine like the sun. And then Moshe could come in and take his rightful place. And that's the secret of the Ari HaKadosh. Baruch Adonai Le'olam. Amen ve'amen. Rabbi Hanan ben Akashia Omer.